everybody, and welcome to Poland Daily Travel. The bells are tolling. It's midday in Legnica, also previously known as Little Moscow. A dubious name, but more of that sort of stuff later. Right now we're standing in front of the Modrzejewska Theater. I don't know if the name Helena Modrzejewska means anything to you. It might. It might if you have Polish origin or if you've studied theater, because she was one of the great actresses of the 19th century. And her life is fascinating. So let me go over here and sit down, and I got my coffee waiting. I'm gonna tell you a story. Now, Helena Modrzejewska was born in Krakow in 1840. That's the same year this theater was built. This theater was built in Legnica by the Germans, or Legnitz, as they called the place. And about, 200 kilometers, let's say, away, Helena Modrzejewska was being born. But that wasn't her name when she was born. There were some complications. Not sure really who the father was. It may have been a Polish nobleman by the name of Sangushov, if I remember correctly. But her starting out name was Opid. Her music teacher, I believe, became her godfather, and she took his name, although he was not her father. So she was already a woman with a questionable identity from the moment she was born. Now, how did Helena Benda, which was the name her mother eventually took, become Helena Modrzejewska? Well, you might well ask. And it's a long and tangled web. First, she had to become a famous actress, which meant starring in various cities in the Poland of that time under partition. And she managed to do that, eventually winding up in, arriving in Warsaw and making her name there as a great portrayer of Shakespearean roles. Now, what's interesting is that wasn't enough. Somehow being the most famous actress in partitioned Poland and all of the accolades that went with that was not enough for this lady. She was very ambitious. She was not absolutely the most beautiful woman, but she was attractive. And the accounts of her acting reveal that she had a special magic, something mysterious about her once she got on the stage, something magnetic. You couldn't take your eyes off her. She might pass you in the street like Marilyn Monroe used to when she was studying Lee Strasberg in New York. She'd put on an old sweater and hat, walk down the street, and nobody'd recognize her. But as soon as she opened up the coat, stood up straight, took off the hat, let that hair out, everyone would know who she was. It was about acting. So, and I think Helena Modrzejewska was perhaps the most charismatic, certainly the most charismatic woman actress in Shakespearean roles of the 19th century. It was in 1876 that she decided, along with a group of other people, speaking of actresses, yeah, it's okay. Where was I? That young Modrzejewska there. Right, oh yeah. So she decided, along with some friends, that she would take off for the New World. And here's what she said at the time. Her husband was a guy called Modrzejewska, and that's how she got that name. She would marry a guy called Modrzejewska in America. But she said, my husband's only desire was to take me away from my surroundings and give me perfect rest from my work. Our friends used to talk about the new country, the new life, the new scenery. and the possibility of settling down somewhere in the land of freedom, you see, to which each Pole was exposed in Russian, away from the daily vexations to which each Pole was exposed in Russian or Prussian Poland. She doesn't mention the Austrians, they weren't so bad. Henryk Sienkiewicz was the first to advocate immigration, that great Sienkiewicz, who would later write those historical novels about Poland's past and win a Nobel Prize. And he went with her. And little by little, they got a group together, and there were 5 of them who decided to search out adventure in the jungles of the New World. So they were going to form a kind of a commune, like Brook Farm in England. And I believe it was in England, wasn't it, Brook Farm? At any rate, they started a ranch near Anaheim in California, and things went on for a while, but like a lot of communes, the hippie thing just didn't work out, man. So she decided to go back to acting. And pretty soon, she was making her career again in the United States and becoming well known as the most famous Shakespearean actress in the United States, even though her English was not great. It was her presence once she got on the stage. It was her stagecraft, her ability, way ahead of its time. I mean, Pola Negri would do it, would be another Polish actress who would do that in the cinema in the 20s. But Modrzejewska was way ahead of her time in terms of her technique and her charisma, and really one of the greatest stars. Then she went to London to work on her English and became a great Shakespearean actress, and not only, but other things too, but did a lot of Shakespeare in the home of Shakespeare, of course, where he did most of his plays in London. So Modrzejewska continued, stayed on in the United States, and she died in a beautiful place called Newport Beach, which is famous for Beach Boys, and the Beach Boys band were from there, and for more performance going on, and surfing. That's right. She died in Newport Beach at the age of 67. She had Bright's disease. She had kidney disease, and that was the end of her. But one of the great actresses in the history of theater, and I wonder what she would have been like on film. Well, we never got the chance to see. Anyway, that's the story of Helena Modrzejewska. Thanks for watching.